The message buzzed on my phone, small but sharp enough to pierce the quiet hum of my office. Just having coffee with a friend. I stared at the screen, feeling a hollow tug in my chest. Her words were casual, harmless, or so they should have been. But the unease curling inside me refused to settle. I typed a reply without thinking. Ask him if his wife liked the new photo. The silence after sending it was heavier than the office air itself. I sat back, letting the chair creak beneath me, staring at the floor as if it might swallow the creeping dread. Her responses had always been predictable, warm, mundane. But tonight felt different. I could almost hear the subtle change in the spaces between her words, the faint hesitation, the invisible tremor. My thumb hovered over the screen, compulsively checking for a response that didn't come. I replayed our morning. She had kissed me goodbye with that practiced smile, the one she reserves for public scenes, and whispered, "I'll be back before dinner." There was a tension in her voice I couldn't place then, something too clipped, too rehearsed. I had brushed it off, rationalized it. Long day at work, errands, friends. But the text gnawed at me, feeding a suspicion I didn't want to entertain. I remembered how she laughed the other night at a story I told, but not fully. Her eyes wandered, lingering on the screen she claimed to be ignoring. I told myself it was nothing. I wanted it to be nothing. Denial is a quiet, persuasive liar. And I was desperate for its comfort. But now, alone in the dim glow of the office, denial sounded hollow in my ears. A second message arrived. My chest tightened before I even read it. He said hi. That's all. Her words were ordinary, innocent, but my mind, treacherous and relentless, twisted them into insinuation. The way she phrased it, the brevity, the vagueness, sparked 1,000 questions. Who was he? How close are they? Did she mean just hi? Or something more? I tried logic. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe I was imagining shadows in the corners of my own insecurities. My hand shook slightly as I poured myself another coffee, the bitter liquid grounding me in the mundane. I scrolled through her social media, pretending to be casual, but every post, every comment became a puzzle I was desperate to solve. Her latest photo was there. Smiling, flawless, untouched by the faint worry lines that had begun to shadow her eyes. And yet, something about her gaze seemed different, distant, detached. By the time evening fell, the gnawing unease had grown into a tangible weight pressing on my chest. I called her, my voice steady but my gut twisting in anticipation. "Where are you?" I asked. "Just finishing up, we'll be home soon," she replied, casual, unbothered. But her tone didn't match the words. There was a lightness, almost giddy, that made my stomach drop. I decided to go to the café. Maybe seeing the scene for myself would calm the storm inside me. But as I approached, the subtle signs I'd ignored before became unbearable truths. A man's hand resting lightly on her back. Her head tilted toward him. Laughter spilling in warmth that hadn't been for me in months. Their eyes locked in private conversation. A world I wasn't meant to enter. I wanted to turn and leave, tell myself it was harmless, but my feet refused. My heart pounded as if trying to escape my chest. The closer I got, the more my rationalizations faltered. She noticed me then, eyes widening, a flicker of guilt or fear passing across her face. "Hey," she said, voice uneven. I swallowed hard. "Hey." The man stood too, his smile polite but firm. A subtle assertion of territory. I watched as she introduced me. If that's what it was, a feigned normalcy. As if my presence could somehow neutralize what had been unfolding unnoticed for weeks, months maybe. Inside I was chaos. Anger, disbelief, heartbreak. The raw ache of betrayal twisting together into a knot that refused to untangle. Questions raced. How long? Why him? Was it love? Or just an escape? My mind demanded answers even as my body trembled with the need to retreat. I asked her directly, voice low, almost shaking. "What's going on?" She faltered, caught between words she didn't know how to say and the truth I dreaded. "It's complicated," she whispered, eyes not meeting mine. Complicated. A word too fragile for the shattering impact it carried. The man shifted, subtly protective, and my anger flared. I felt a flicker of the man I once was, rational, patient, understanding, snapped clean in half by the raw evidence in front of me. I left the cafe before the confrontation could escalate, walking the darkened streets with the cold bite of November air against my cheeks. Every step was heavy, echoing in the hollow chambers of my chest. I replayed every smile, every touch, every laugh she had shared with me and wondered if it had ever been real. Back home, the apartment felt impossibly large, suffocating. Her scent lingered faintly on the couch where she had been, a cruel reminder of the intimacy that now felt like a lie. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone, reading and rereading her messages. My fingers trembled, hovering over the screen, knowing that one reply could ignite a conversation I wasn't ready for, or confirm the reality I hoped wasn't true. Hours passed. Finally, she walked in, casual, smiling, carrying her coat and handbag as if nothing had happened. "I'm home," she said, the words ordinary, mundane. But I heard the lie threaded through them like a needle in the fabric of our life. I looked at her, really looked, and saw everything I had tried to ignore. The subtle affection she reserved for someone else, the rehearsed gestures I had mistaken for love, the quiet betrayal threading through our shared world. I didn't speak. Words felt inadequate. She didn't need to explain. The truth hung between us, heavy and undeniable. My hands were clenched, nails digging into my palms. My heart ached, not just for the betrayal, but for the slow, grinding realization that the life I thought we shared had fractured silently while I was blind. She took a step closer, tentative, reaching out. I turned away. Silence stretched between us, vast, empty and unyielding. In that quiet, the only sound was my own ragged breathing and the faint hum of the refrigerator. Life going on, indifferent to heartbreak, to the collapse of trust, to the unraveling of love. And in that moment I knew nothing would ever be the same again.